Okay, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the second concert in the Greencastle Summer Music Festivals. And I'm not sure whether they're called the 17th or the 16th season because, we didn't have concerts last year, but they were, we did have virtual concerts, so I guess we could call this the 17th season. Thank you for being here, and many thanks to the people of Gilman Church who let us use their facilities and their wonderful piano. And tonight's concert, as you can see in the program, is dedicated to the memory of Beverly Neal Wagner, and many people who made donations in her memory to our endowment, the Putnam County Community Foundation. And we're going to tell you about that more a little bit later. And Beverly's son, Charles Todd Wagner, who, like me, goes by two names. My full name is Charles Eric Edberg, so some people know him as Charles, some people know him as Todd. He's going to be coming up to tell us about his mom and her wishes for that. And I want to thank everybody. You can see, if you look on the back of the program, all the people who've made donations so far. We have set a goal that we call 21 and 21 to raise $21,000 in the summer of 21. And as last week after I talked about how fortunate and grateful we feel that we got a grant from the Putnam County Community Foundation from their COVID-19 Emergency Relief Fund to help with the costs of the virtual concerts that we did from October through May, somebody said, oh, maybe they don't need any more money. But I want to tell you, we spent about $5,000 more on the virtual concerts from our reserve funds than all the grants and extra donations that we got. So we really would be very, very grateful for your continued generosity. And we're like halfway to that goal. So far we've got $10,286 and no cents donated since the first of the year. And we like that very much. Our motto is friends making music for friends. And tonight just is, the epitome of that for me, because I have been making music with Claude Cymerman and Randy Salman since I joined the DePauw University music faculty in 1988. And while I still feel like a new faculty member, I'm retired. As are Randy and Claude. So it's definitely old friends making music tonight. And we're going to start out with three pieces by Astor Piazzolla. Astor Piazzolla was just an incredibly gifted musician from Buenos Aires and steeped in the tango tradition from Argentina. And he went to study with Natalie Boulanger, who was like the big composition teacher in the world at that time, and taught Leonard Bernstein and many other people. And he was trying to become a kind of typical 20th century classical composer, and Van Boulanger said, you need to take all these skills that you've developed and then use your own voice, right? Tangos, with this combination of tangos and classical music. So he basically invented an art form called that a lot of people call the art tango. And we're going to start out tonight with three of those: Sweet Tango, Oblivion, and Libertango, as arranged for clarinet and piano and performed by our good friends Claude Cymerman and Randy Salman. So please welcome Claude and Randy. Those three pieces are just so beautiful. The last piece, Libertango, was so much fun, and at 12:30 this afternoon we had all the children from the Summer Enrichment Program, which is also hosted here at Govan, and Randy and Claude played that for them, and they just loved it. And I'll tell you more about that later. But right now I want to ask Mr. Wagner to come up and tell us about his mom and this wonderful gift that she caused to heaven.
Well, thank you, Charles.
Yes.
This is good.
Yes.
Professor Wagner, my father, always told me, don't speak extemporaneously, let people who speak well extemporaneously do it. I've written out like 6 pages here, but I've realized I'm going to do what my mother would say, which was speak from the heart, and people like short speakers. I can do that. She said, don't bore people, tell a good story. And she was a wonderful storyteller. The first thing I want to do is thank my Aunt Barbara, who's here. She's one of my mother's 2 surviving sisters. My mother grew up on a farm, Home Place Farm. She had 3 sisters and 2 brothers, and Aunt Barbara could tell you music was a huge part of their childhood. It was very important to them, and they had their first radio was operated with the battery, and Barbara was just telling me that they didn't want to run down the battery because Granddaddy Mio had his shows that he wanted to watch. So I'm a teacher, a junior high and high school teacher, and one of the first things I do in class is I ask one of my students, who I think would be a good sport, what's your favorite flavor ice cream? And then when they tell me it's vanilla, I say, no, it's not. And they say, yeah, it is. And that's exactly what I want them to understand. You can't tell somebody what to like. I want to introduce a lot of artwork and music to my students, but they decide what they like. And that's exactly what my mother in particular did at our house growing up on Highwood Street. All kinds of music. A lot of it was visiting events at DePaul. Greencastle is such a wonderful music center. We saw all kinds of music. I have a huge list of all the things we saw, but we were always required to watch the Leonard Bernstein Young People's concerts on our black and white TV, and he explained instruments, and that was wonderful. I just remember one night he said, well, some people ask me, is it love? He said, well, of course it's love. And another thing that was important at our house was we would play a musical instrument. And I remember complaining in about 5th grade. I said, but you're not even giving me a choice. And she said, yes, you have a choice. You can pick what instrument you want to play. So I thought about it, and Joe Boyd, who lived down the street, who was the coolest kid in our neighborhood, he said, well, you should play the double bass. It's really cool. It's big. It only has 4 strings. And so I thought, well, it only has 4 notes. That should be good. Well, we compromised on a cello, and I thought that was great. Only 4 notes, it should be easy. And then Patience Berg at my first cello lesson said, I'm sorry, Todd, but you use your left hand and there's a lot more notes. So, but for me, G, C, G, D, A.
That's it?
Yeah, that was good enough. And to this day, when I pester, the Peelers used to say they pestered Clay. When I pester my stringed instruments that live at the house, those are the 4 notes that I like best. So my mother took me to all kinds of events, and I'm very grateful for that. And she told us about all kinds of things to see. So she introduced me when she was living in Asbury. She said, there's a Greencastle Summer Music Festival. You really should check it out. And so I got to bring her to musical events. And we had some of the most special times, and it was really great. And I could pay her back, and we spent time together. But as she got older, it was harder to get here, and eventually she'd say, no, you go ahead, you enjoy it. Sometimes I would stream it over Facebook or FaceTime. And of course, she was pretty cool. She had an email address before anybody I knew. She had AOL, Bevy at AOL. And when she was 75, I think, she said, you should check out Amazon. She said, it's really cool, somewhere in there. She said they sell books, and I said, that's dumb. Nobody will ever do that. So she was very hip. And in her 90s, she would come here and visit. And the story that I really realized that I should tell is one of those nights when I went to see her, she said, I can't go, I just can't go. I said, you really need to go? And she said, no, I'm not going. I knew that was it. But then I said, well, you know, Dr. Cymerman and Dr. Edberg are playing, and I love cello. And she said, oh, Claude's playing? She said, I simply must go. That was exactly what she said. And so it was a special night. It was the last time she came to see live music here. And when we got home, she was exhausted but very happy. And she said, Todd, I think I'd like you to have my donations for any memorials given to the Greencastle Summer Music Festival. So I can't thank you enough for allowing me to have those special nights with my mother, and thank you very much, and this is wonderful, so thank you.
Thank you. You know, the guest speakers are not supposed to make me cry during the concert. So, you can see all the people who made donations, and they went to our endowment at the Putnam County Foundation, and I heard from the foundation, they don't tell us who gave what, but it was over $5,400 in donations that went to the endowment. So we're very grateful for that, and let's thank the Wagner family again. And I believe that concert was the second concert of the 2019 season, so just exactly, almost exactly 2 years ago today. So in Beverly's memory, we're now going to play up the last of our pieces from Buenos Aires, and I know the program says from Vienna to Buenos Aires. We're going from Buenos Aires, then we're going to go back in time a couple hundred years to Vienna. This is Milontan by José Bragato, who was a very, very close colleague of Astor Piazzolla. So I am going to sit down, take out my end pin, and we'll tune a little bit, we'll play that, and then I'll tell you about the Beethoven piece. my sick bed. Come here, Claude, play too. But so before we go back to Vienna, I wanted to tell you more about playing for the summer enrichment kids, because we've been just having a blast with it. It's something we've been doing for 3 or 4 years now. And so these elementary school kids come in and they sit in the pews and they wear their masks and they're being so good about it. They're so quiet. They love listening to the music. They're so curious, and they'll tell us what they're seeing, when they listen to the pieces, and it's just such a great interaction that we're having together. And one of the things that Randy did today, and I was so fascinated by it, I asked him if he would do it for us tonight, was he showed us how the clarinet works and what happens if you take it apart. So would you do that? Okay, so all right.
Absolutely. Well, it's funny. That came out of nowhere today. And
yeah, I don't tell people when I'm going to ask them to do weird things. I just do it.
But there was a piece I did quite a while ago by a guy named Hywel, and that's what they do, right? And so they start out with the normal piece, Not that idea, but play that, and then this piece, people come out, and it's kind of like a magical thing, and you take the bell, say this is a bell, and you put it down on there. Doesn't do much at first. Little funny at the bottom, but not much. Then come out again, and you put it on the table, it's a red velvet and all this other stuff. The kids love it. And then you're down here, the music goes on, and you're playing. Kind of a funny sound, but not too strange yet. Get sort of near the end. This piece comes off, and it's on the table, and everybody's looking like, what's going on? And it comes to this part where you do this thing where kind of a thing, and they're really mesmerized. Then the last piece, put the barrel over here like this, and there's this big fanfare, and it finally goes. And that's it.
Let's hear it for Randy's clarinet. And the kids really loved that, and it was
Now
great.
if I can figure out what order to put it back.
Yeah. Okay, so while he's trying to figure out how to put that thing back together, next week we have the Abel Family Quartet and Friends. The Abels are, really big deal people in the Indianapolis freelance music scene, and two of their kids, Ben and Clara, went on to Juilliard and all sorts of schools. They're just really fantastic. So they're going to be playing string quintets with a guest violist by Beethoven and Brahms, and so that'll be next week. And some of them are going to come and play for the kids, and they'll have a great time for that. And now we're going back to 1797 in Vienna, and when Beethoven composed this trio for what was then a kind of a novelty, the clarinet, that did not yet have as many moving parts as it is. And so one of the reasons the piece that we're about to play is in B flat major was the key that clarinet played in. And Beethoven was kind of, 27 years old. He's this kind of rising, hotshot, virtuoso pianist and composer and freelance musician. And there was a market for pieces like this, and he had a buddy who played the clarinet. And so you're going to hear it's in 3 movements, kind of light and fun. The last movement in particular is just kind of you can see who Beethoven was in a way, because it's a theme and variations. And if you look at your program, you'll see there's some Italian, which I'm not going to try to pronounce, but it was a very popular at the time song in Vienna that workers, it was so popular, like everybody just kind of sing it as they were, walking around in the streets and things. And its title, fully translated from this comic opera, which is, the opera's called something like Love at Sea, is, before I go to work, I must have something to eat. And so this, with this improbable, simple tune, Beethoven then wrote 9 variations on it. And they're just dazzling, and Beethoven was a great, great master of that form. So there's this story. So, you know, at the time that Beethoven was composing, there weren't concert halls like we have today, and it was really written to be performed at, you know, somebody's nice house who had a good piano. And so we have this, you know, Gobin's nice house with a good piano. And so Beethoven did this concert and did these variations. Well, he had a rival pianist composer named Steibel. And so like the next week, Steibel played. And Steibel was very show-offy. I kind of imagined him like the Liberace of his time. And so to kind of one-up Beethoven, he played his own variations on this same "Before I go to work, I must have something to eat." And it kind of, what we're seeing today is like, Beethoven was triggered by this. And egged on by his friends, after the concert was over, he went and he grabbed the music of the cello part of one of Steibel's compositions, turned it upside down, and played the bass line upside down, and then proceeded to do like an hour-long improvisation that blew everybody away. And Steibel left Vienna and was never heard from again. So we're now going to play this piece, and want to thank everybody again for coming. We want to thank, who have we thanked yet? So the endowment, the Wagners for the gifts to the endowment. I want to thank Joanne Kissinger and her daughter Lisa, who are here. They started the endowment. Would you stand up? Can we give you a round of applause? We also got a grant from the Putnam County Convention and Visitors Bureau, and then, you know, all the donations from people like you and me. It's, you know, it makes this possible. I got an email the other day from a lady in Japan who used to come to the concerts when she lived here, and she's been watching all the virtual concerts. You can see we got microphones and video cameras up. We're professionally video recording all the concerts this summer, so we can put those on local cable access TV and then on YouTube, so people from Greencastle to Japan can watch them. Yes, they are. And I want to thank the Init DePaw, who, when we have guest artists who come from out of town, the Inn donates rooms. And a lot of us go over to the Duck, which is the only place in Greencastle that I know that serves food until 9:30 or 10. So if you want to join us over there, you can. But for now, the Beethoven Trio in B-flat major, finishing with the variations on I must be hungry. Before I go to work, I must have something to eat.
Thank you.